My wife was abducted. I have to save her.
That mirrorverse warps the mind until the person is no longer recognizable. If Iris is still alive in there, there's probably nothing left of her to save.
Now you'll feel the real power of speed.
You ready? Let's do it.
Where's he going? Barry, you're going the wrong way.
Wait for it. Relieved to finally get rid of Godspeed. And this one talks, so now we know we got the real August Hart behind bars.
That's not the real Godspeed. Once he was placed in a meta-dampening cell, I questioned him as the Flash, and all he could say was, "The one who sent me wants infinite velocity."
When you were fighting Godspeed, he said, "We deserve your speed."
Who's we?
Does we include the one who sent him?
He couldn't tell me because he stopped talking.
And started chirping like a broken modem. Just like the rest of them. I have an idea. A way to get our people out of the Mirrorverse. We need a lossless, self-sustaining source of perpetual energy.
Sounds like you're talking about the holy grail of science, a perpetual motion machine.
That's right. Hartley had some ideas. I think we can actually build one. We're just missing one component, and thanks to my travels, I know exactly where to find it. Atlantis.
Finally, crisis pays off in a good way for once.
Now let's get to work.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my Flash finale trailer video. That's right, episode 19 next week will be the finale because the virus delayed everything and they weren't able to finish filming the rest of the episodes this season. So we'll break it down. There's a bunch of Easter eggs. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We're doing an Amazon giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave all your predictions for the Flash Season 7 on the video. So here we go. Team Flash is still trying to get everyone out of the mirror dimension. That's right, Iris, everyone else is still trapped in there. I love that Joseph Carver is like, your wife is dead, dude. Time to move on. Find yourself somebody new. There's this whole subplot going on between him and his wife, the new Mirror Master, which seems like they want to kill each other, like he just abandoned her inside the mirror dimension. Either she was trapped in there, then went crazy, like Iris is slowly going crazy inside this trailer, or she was crazy before she went in, and he just used that as an excuse to trap her in there. But the whole thing is that now that Cisco has an idea to get them out of the mirror dimension, but it's going to require technology from Aquaman and Atlantis. So this isn't the first time that they've mentioned Aquaman and Atlantis on the TV show. You remember way back in Season 2, the first time they ever name-dropped it was when Zoom, pretending to be Jay Garrick from Earth 2, said that there was a version of Atlantis on Earth 2. I love the joke from Elongated Man, who says, "Crisis finally pays off in a good way." That's just a joke about them getting closer to TV Justice League, doing the big Justice League characters, Aquaman being the next. They've done a version of Themyscira. We have a Superman TV show via Tyler Hoechlin coming later this year, so we're just that much closer to doing actual TV Justice League, and not just the Super Friends, which is what happened at the end of Crisis. But Cisco's idea is to use a perpetual motion machine, which is a real thing. It's a concept that's been around for a long time in the real world. This is what it looks like. It kind of reminds you of the giant circular device, the Magnetron, that Zoom was forcing Barry to run around and activate during the Flash Season 2 finale, running around a giant circle, because that's what the Flash does. He runs around stuff. The difference in that finale is that Zoom was trying to destroy all the worlds in the multiverse except for Earth 1. This time, Team Flash is just trying to cross into the mirror dimension between barriers. Cisco even started to talk more about multiverse concepts, like maybe this is just another Earth in the multiverse that we can travel to using my vibe abilities. They got really weird with that whole multiverse explainer after Crisis, pretending like the multiverse didn't exist anymore, even though we saw that whole post-credit scene leading up to the Super Friends scene at the end around the table. The whole idea is that it was the rebirth of the multiverse, so we're not really sure why the characters are in the dark about the multiverse existing. They still think that it's not a thing. Oh, we're the only Earth. There are no other copies of other people. Whatever's happening in the finale and during season 7, I'm assuming that that's when they'll discover that there really is a multiverse that's back. It's just very different than what it looked like before. Like they used Crisis and the Earth Prime reboot to put all the heroes on the same Earth, and some of the heroes and villains look a little bit different. They'll probably do the same thing with other worlds in the multiverse when they start revealing that. But then there's this whole Godspeed subplot. Godspeed in the episode was voiced by B.D. Wong again from Gotham and Jurassic World, so I'm happy that they brought him back. Like Morena Baccarin is still doing the voice of Gideon, even though they haven't really done Gideon in a long time either. But this scene at the end of the episode mostly confirms that Godspeed is going to be a big villain or the main villain of Season 7, the real version, quote-unquote, of August Hart. Barry said that when he was fighting this version of Godspeed, he said that they, quote-unquote multiples, they were looking for infinite speed and had developed a technique for stealing Speed Force from other speedsters that was a little different from the technique that Earth 90 Barry Allen used during Crisis on Infinite Earths on our Barry when he stole his speed to use the cosmic treadmill. You run long enough, kid, you learn a couple new tricks. The showrunner said that they're doing a lot more stories from the newer Flash Rebirth comics, and at the beginning of the Flash Rebirth comics, there's this Godspeed storyline with him going around killing other speedsters, taking their speed. So they're just trying to do a slightly different version of that on the TV show. But this Godspeed is just another advanced cybernetic copy of the last fake Godspeed we saw at the beginning of the season in episode 1, confirming that the real August Hart is still out there, coming back during season 7 to be a much bigger villain. The reason why they're probably doing that is so that they can cast a much bigger actor when they reveal the real August Hart, and it'll be someone that we haven't seen before. But they always tease the villain of the upcoming season in the last couple of episodes of the previous season, like, oh, this person is going to be a big deal next year. But just because Godspeed seems like he's going to be the big villain of Season 7 doesn't mean he'll be the only villain, because there's also that big hanging plot thread with Reverse Flash, the twist that Grant Gustin said was originally supposed to happen in the real finale, episode 22, I believe, but because of the virus, they couldn't film it, so I think we all assumed that it was going to lead up to a big Red Death storyline or a big twist. I've already talked about that in previous Flash videos, but there's also the blood work hanging plot thread too. The Mirror Copies tried to free him a couple episodes ago, but he said, no, I'm going to stay in here, I'm playing the long game, there's other ways for me to be free. So obviously if they don't resolve that in the finale, they'll have to bring him back during Season 7. So the showrunner and Grant Gustin himself confirmed that they probably will just wrap up all that stuff that they couldn't film at the end of this season at the beginning of Season 7, and then do the story that they had originally planned for the beginning of Season 7. Grant Gustin did a big interview with the DC Comics people last week saying that he already knew what their whole plan was for the Season 7 story and for all the characters and the new villains, so they'll do all that stuff at the beginning of the season. And even though his contract is up, they had started discussions with the studio about doing a Season 8 and Season 9 possibly, but because of the virus, the talks had stopped, and he said that he's not sure when they're going back to film Season 7 and when they're going to start negotiating his new contract again. But he did a big long podcast with Michael Rosenbaum also talking about leaving the show, because Michael Rosenbaum, if you remember, left Smallville as Lex after Season 7. He's like, I did 7 seasons, that's good enough for me. Then for the rest of the show up to the series finale, just came back every once in a while for cameos. So naturally, he asked Grant Gustin, do you feel like leaving the show, like 7 seasons is enough? So Grant Gustin just said that he'd be happy either way, either leaving the show or doing more. They're going to have to pay him way more money when he renews his contract, so that's a big consideration. But they did that for Stephen Amell. They paid him a crazy amount of money to do Arrow Season 8. But what's going to happen with DC TV the week after the Flash finale is the Stargirl TV show is just going to replace the Flash on Tuesday nights, and it'll run for 13 episodes. I've seen the first 3 episodes already. It's basically a Justice Society TV show with a real version of a Justice Society, but it's different actors playing the characters than the Justice Society characters you've seen in the DC TV universe. So it's a little bit different. I'll do a video for episode 1 in a couple weeks when they actually drop that first episode. And then a lot of you have also asked me to do a Justice League Dark Apokolips War video. They just released that movie video on demand. My video for that will post later this week, so as long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see that when I post it. But it was actually a pretty solid movie. There's also a new Deadpool 3 video that I'll post later tonight too, because Ryan Reynolds was going off about Deadpool 3 recently. So while you wait for that, everyone click here for my new Spider-Man 3 Daredevil clip, and click here for that new Rick and Morty Season 4 Episode 7 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.